There you are, live from Meeangin, also known as Brisbane, as you can see. I don't know if you can read that, but here we go. It is unbelievable that they're starting to call Brisbane Meeangin.
With his take, here's Referendum correspondent Dan Borscher.
The emotion and passion was clear from all leaders on both sides of the debate today. And where they spoke from, South Australia and Tasmania, gave a sense of states that are central, Western Australia and Queensland the next campaign focus. I've travelled to every state and territory.
Well, good morning everybody. Today is the 31st of August 2023. Now right away you're going to be wondering why I've been seeing all these photos of Brisbane. Okay, well, some people might actually enjoy seeing something a bit different, but there you go. Now Brisbane is little known outside of Australia in a sense, although it's probably close to 2 million population here now. Not as big as Sydney or Melbourne, where we're over 5 million each. But that's not the purpose of the video, let's say. Now, especially for my friends overseas who might view this, we're having a referendum on the 14th of October for voting whether we should incorporate in the Constitution what is known as the voice. Now, it's very ill-defined. It's said to be a group of 24 people selected by state and federal governments. Now, for those who don't know, there is only one conservative state in Australia, and that's Tasmania. We call it Liberal, which is the opposite to what the Americans call the word Liberal. Because over here that would equate to the Labor Party. So you will get 22 votes for people, that is to say appointments, for people to be in this so-called voice. Several things come to mind about this. Number one, 22 Labor appointees and 2 non-Labor appointees. I don't know whether you consider that to be fair or not. I don't. Then who are the people going to be? People straight away would perhaps attack me, criticise me and all the rest of it by saying, oh, you're being a racist, you're being a bigot, you're being nasty, you're underhanded. Well, no, actually I'm not. These people will be half-caste and quarter-caste Aboriginal. Nobody can name a full-blooded Aboriginal that will be on that voice. Now, we're lucky if we're going to get 1 or 2, but the vast majority will not be. That's just by the way. Now, getting onto the subject matter I wanted to talk about, Brisbane, I have a movie last night, I don't know how well that will be seen, as it says live from Meeangin. Well, come on guys, where's Meeangin? Well, it flips from Meeangin to Brisbane, back to Meeangin, then back to Brisbane. Are you confused? Well, yeah, I don't blame you. That's the Aboriginal name for Brisbane. Now, if you think that linking the voice referendum with the name Meeangin is a bit too much of a stretch, think again. Ayers Rock, one of the most famous things in Australia, known these days as Uluru, nobody authorised anybody to change the name to Uluru, but they just did. Another one was Fraser Island, a very interesting place in central Queensland, off the coast of course. It's been changed to Kagari, or just Gary Island. And on the news they'll tell you about weather reports, oh, it's going to be rainy in Kagari, or whatever, you know. Nobody authorised anyone in particular to change the name to Gary. All right, now, the voice, if it exists, is going to exist after the referendum, you have to have a yes vote. It's an interesting thing in Australia, and one of my overseas friends have no idea about this. It's called a double majority. You not only have to have the majority of votes, which could be obtained, by the way, by just getting a majority in New South Wales and Victoria. You get the majority of votes. But you've got to have the majority of states. That is to say, 4 states out of the 6. And that doesn't include the territories of Northern Territory and Australian ACT, Australian Capital Territory, which is Canberra. If the Voice recommends to change the names of places like Brisbane and Sydney, Melbourne and Adelaide and Perth, which all have colonial names, shall we say, British names, for example, the government of the day can accept that advice and just do it. No matter what the cost is, no matter what the confusion, they could just change Brisbane to Meeangin. Well, it's already underway from the news reports on the ABC saying live from Meeangin. Without the Voice, I don't think anybody would have guts to change the name of any of those cities. Oh, it includes Darwin, because that's just named after Charles Darwin, the evolutionist scientist. So don't be shocked if the Voice actually exists and then it does change the name of your location, and there's hundreds and hundreds of places. I live in an English name place. It's called Ipswich. Well, and how about that? It's named after Ipswich in England. And incidentally, there are about 4 or 5 different places called Ipswich in the world. But what Aboriginal name would Ipswich be called? Well, you think I'm jumping too far ahead of myself. Okay, that's fine, but I now hope that there will be an overwhelming no vote in the referendum, and that's got nothing to do with me being racist at all, because there are quite a number of prominent Aboriginals who have come out in favour of a no vote, not a yes vote. Of course, there are quite a number out there, I guess, that come out in favour of the yes vote as well. Anyway, let's see. This in 6 weeks' time, this video would be perhaps out of date, or perhaps not if the yes vote wins. Anyway, it is a somewhat controversial question for sure, but I'd like you to consider everything. If you're in Australia and you're thinking about voting yes, I'd like to consider voting no. Anyway, thank you for watching and enjoying, I hope, this little video, and your comments in a civil and polite manner would be very, very welcome. So thanks again.